Good afternoon, everyone. I'm just checking my watch because we've got a chocolate cake in the oven. And they better not forget to tell me when to take the damn thing out. Anyway, I'm just going to say this is my all-time favourite. The Sam Mac and Cheese recipe. Now, I tell you what, Sam, all you do, everyone, you get little Sam and you give him a bit of a stir and he comes out cheesy and saucy. But you'll never make it any other way. So anyway, what we need is butter, and I've got to tell you how much and I've forgotten. We need butter and we need plain flour. Everyone uses that, everyone does that, and that makes like a roux. And so we've got 50 grams of butter, 3 tablespoons of flour. We've got 2 cups of milk, 2.5 cups of water. We've got a teaspoon of mustard. We've got 250 grams of pasta. Make sure it's a macaroni because we are making mac cheese. You need half a cup of mozzarella and about 185 grams of grated tasty or whatever you want. Anyway, it's a bloody good recipe and you make it in this one pot. And you know that little Sam Mac is gonna love this. So first thing we do, we've got to melt the butter. Just anyone that knows, you've got to make a roux. Now I might have the stove a bit hot, you know, but that's all right, she'll cook down. So you get that butter in there and you give it a good sweep around, melts beautifully, bubbles up. Then you pop in your 3 tablespoons of flour and that's what thickens it up. Oh, and this is just so beautiful, everybody. And you know my Bruce, he loves this. Yeah, doesn't eat much pasta, but he'll like the mac and cheese. It's a bit old-fashioned, my Bruce, but you know, that's all right. I just gave him some cake. He said, oh, it's too rich. I thought, oh, you shit. Then you start to add your milk, just a little bit of a time. Start off with it a little bit, because if you put it in too much, it will go lumpy, and we don't want lumps. Remember, this is the Sam Mac and Cheese, so it's got to be smooth and silky. Hey, Sam, in we go. Bit more milk, bit of dairy. Bloody good for you. You know, do you remember the Kraft one we used to eat when we were kids? Oh, remember that packet Kraft? I'm into Kraft, aren't I? Bloody packets of everything. Now, this is what we can all make, and if we're feeling a bit down in the dumps, make a bit of Sam Mac and it'll make you feel better. See how I'm adding the milk in now? See, and I stir it up to make sure the lumps come out. Now I've got to put in another cup of milk, so it's 2 cups of milk, everybody. So you bung it in slow. Don't be in a hurry, because if you're in a hurry, it'll go yuck. But once it's going, it's easy as anything to make. Oh, I tell you, this is what we're having for dinner tonight. And you can freeze it as well. So if you live on your own, Katie Sheehan, you know, I tell you what, you'll damn well love it. See this? We're removing all the lumps. We don't want a lumpy Sam Mac. No, we want a smooth one. You know, we can even colour it up if you like, you know, with a bit of colouring. You can do what you like. So see how that's coming out really yum? Really yum. Bung in the milk. Now, you're going to laugh about this one. We're going to put in 2.5 cups of water into this. So where we go. Here's the 1 cup. And we just mix that in again. And it won't be long. You'll be able to just chuck it in. It makes it really well. So here we go. 1 cup. We got the 2nd cup. Honestly, this is so easy, you'll never make a baked mac cheese again. No, I certainly won't. And then in we go. Of course, we don't want to bake Sam. We want to stir him up and boil him up and make him as hot as hell. So we give it a bit of a stir. And then we have to bring this to the boil. I think I'm just having a look. And, yep, then we go to the seasonings. And then I'm going to put in, I love my Keen's mustard, and I'm going to put in a teaspoon. Just gives it a little bit of a bite, hey Sam, a bit of spice in your life, love. Put that in. Yep. Oh, beautiful. And then we get the macaroni. This is it. Honestly, you'll die. And we just chuck the macaroni in. No cooking it first. Oh no, we're going to boil it up in here. Then you just have to give it a bit of a stir around. And you stir it around and you have to bring it to the boil. So I'll bring it up a bit higher. Pretty good at this, aren't I? Anyway, when you don't feel like cooking much, this is a great easy thing to cook, isn't it? Oh, we all love it. And you know, if you want to be healthy, serve it with some salad. If you don't bother. Bung it in a bowl and eat away, you know. And then garlic bread. Garlic bread goes with this too, you know. But Brucey, he'll have one bit of garlic bread, one tiny bowl, and I'll have the big bowl with half the rest of the garlic bread. I'm a big fat pig like that. So anyway, this is what we do. And we have to bring it up to the heat, and then we're going to bring it till it's nearly boiling. And then we're going to boil it for about 9 minutes. Oh, well, simmer. So there's a difference. Boiling is bubble, bubble, bubble. Simmering is nice, and it's just a slow little simmer. And that's what Sam Mac does. He simmers along, doesn't he? And you know, he doesn't realise yet that he's every old lady's sex symbol on telly at the moment. Yes, he'd be so happy to hear that. I know you would, Sam. So here I go, and I'm just stirring it, and you can see everything just emulsifies eventually, and it'll come to the boil, but we don't want it to be too hot. So what I'm doing is I'm just giving it a stir, and we can stir you up as much as we like. It's not here to say much. So bring it to the boil. This is it, you know, you're going to die. This is it. This is delicious. Get the milk out of the way. I love this Keen's mustard. You know, in the day, that's what was in our condensed milk mayos that our mums used to make, and I'm going to make that for you next week. And I've got to make the tartare sauce recipe. I've got all these things I can show you. None of them are that new age stuff. Oh, stuff that. And by the way, don't use low fat anything in here. It doesn't taste the same. You know, low fat's full of sugar. Oh, better off to have a bit of fat. You know, my nana, Daisy her name was, she lived till she was 92. And she was a big, chubby old woman like me. And she was a good cook. And they reckon I'm just like her. Well, that's all right, because I love that lady. And no, they lived on this sort of stuff. You know, but oh, cakes, could they make cakes? My chocolate cake was nothing compared to this. Having said that, I can make a sponge. Yeah. What do you reckon? Oh, I forgot, everyone. I got a bloody cake in the oven. So 5 minutes we have to take it out, so you might get to see it fresh out of the oven. I made a couple, you know. So anyway, I'm giving it a bit of a, here we go. We're at the simmer stage. See how it's simmering along there? We're going to turn it down a bit now. And for 9 minutes, we're just going to give it an occasional stir. You don't have to stir it all the time. Sam doesn't need to be, doesn't need to be stirred all the time, do you, Sam Mac? I tell you what, your bloody mum's going to love this recipe too. Yeah, and I can hear something in the oven, and I don't know what it is, making a funny noise. So what is that? So how's your day going? I don't know what I've done. Oh, it's gone. Oh, no, it hasn't. I thought, oh my God, I'll bucket this up. Because you know what I use this for, everyone? I make Christmas puddings. So, you know, I make everyone, I know, a Christmas pudding, because why not? But I can't use my stove. Now, I've got to go for about 9 minutes, girls, so you've got to time it for me. And you don't have to stir this all the time. It depends on your mood. Now, if you don't want to use Keen's mustard, you could use a bit of garlic. Oh, that would have been modern in the day, because in the 60s we didn't really have garlic, did we? No. Although my mum did, you know, because we had this friend called Gus. And Gus was Italian, and in Apollo Bay there weren't many Italians living here, but he was a friend of my dad's. And he was single, and he used to come for tea every Sunday night, and Mum would make spaghetti bolognese for Gus so we could have his Italian. Thank God she used proper basil and that. She didn't go and wasn't like the tomato soup variety. Thank God. And he used to call me Darlini, and he used to spoil me rotten, and I loved old Gus. Yeah, those were the days. And you know, Dad had another mate, and his name was George Hampson. I love George. He married later in life, so you know what? They spoilt me as a little kid. And then he married Joan, and they had 2 kids. And you know what? When those kids were born, guess what? We found out that George's grandfather was called George Hampson. Oh, I loved that. We were multicultural, us, and no one ever talked about race back then. Oh, I think we could take a bit of a leaf out of the book of those people back in the 60s. We were pretty good here in the Bay, weren't we, everybody? Yeah, we were. And, you know, we had a great childhood here. And, you know, we met lots of people. People used to come down for the holidays, yeah. Look how thick me Sam Mac's getting. It's a bit thick you are, Sam. And look at that. See how it's thickening up? Well, when you take it off the stove, they won't be completely cooked. So I'm going to stir the cheese in, and then it will settle for a bit, and those little bits of macaroni will get bigger, and it'll be perfect. But you know what? If it's too... The cake's ready, everybody. Oh, let me see. Oh, I forgot about the cake. Now, let me check. Oh, yep. Oh, I reckon it's about cooked, everyone, so I better get the cake out. Yeah, have we got cake hanging? I'll tell you about best chocolate cake you'll ever eat or make. How easy is the chocolate cake? Oh, God. Can't go wrong. Except the old Brucey just doesn't eat enough of me food. Oh, he drinks too much, bastard. Anyhow, here we go. The only thing that you're guaranteed with my Bruce is that he'll drink. Anyway, there we have our chocolate cake. Have a look at that. Have a look at that, see? So what I'll do, we take that out, put it on a wire rack, let it cool. Oops, better get back to here, I forgot about you, Sam Mac. Not too much longer can go to go, I can tell. Now, this is all you do. How easy is my mac cheese? Sam, you're easy as well, love. There you go. Bloody hell. He's not just saucy and cheesy when you give him a stir. Yes. Oh, here it comes. Look at that. And actually is nice. And you can freeze it, everybody. And it's a good thing to take to work. I don't know how long it's got to cook, but it's not too much longer. Just a little bit more. And you'll think, oh, that's not cooked, but it will be cooked. But having said that, when it cools a bit, if it's too thin, put it back on the stove, won't matter. And if it's too thick, bung a bit more milk in it or water. That won't matter as well. So this is one you can't bugger up. So it's fantastic. It's good for little kids, and the kids can make it. And you know what? Anyone that likes the Kraft cheese out of the packet, that one tastes just like it. I've never made anything that tastes so good. And I've been trying to make good mac cheese for years, but the Sam Mac variety is the best I've ever made. So there you go, everyone. How easy is it? Stir it up. I don't need salt and pepper because I put extra mustard in, and you don't taste the mustard, just gives it a bit of bite. Bit of zing, hey Sam? And it's nearly ready to take off, I reckon, a couple of minutes. And we'll be taking this off. And see how it's still thin? See that? What I'm going to do is I'll sit that for about 10 minutes. And the macaroni will be bigger. So don't worry about it. It looks too thin. You go, oh, that's no good. It is good. It's fine. Now I'm just going to put the chocolate cake there to the side. I've done some cooking today. But you know what I do like cooking? Cooking and eating. I'm going to tell you something. It's Father's Day on Sunday, right? Oh, the co-op, the fish co-op, they've got crayfish things on special. $40, you get half a little cray, some prawns and oysters. I thought, geez, I might buy that for Bruce. He'd just love it. Well, no, he wouldn't because he's allergic, but I'll forget and I'll eat it. There you go. So I'll buy him a lovely Father's Day present and I'll eat it for him as well. He's the luckiest man in Apollo Bay, I tell you. Yep, but if I bought him some stubbies and said, here, love, that'll do. You don't need food. I reckon this is about ready. So see how it is now? Sam, we give you a quick stir. You come out like this. Saucy and, wow, we add the cheesy bit. Here we go, half a cup of the good old, mozzarella, and we do that for a bit of, I don't know, we do. And then 185 grand of any sort of tasty cheese. Doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter. As long as it's got a bit of flavour. Don't use a cheese that's bland, because it is mac cheese and the cheese gives it all the flavour. So see what I'm doing now? See how I'm stirring it in and I'm melting it? And you might think that's a bit thin, but it's not really, because if you leave that for, as I said, 10, 15 minutes, bloody beautiful. You'll be able to, and you remember the one out of the pack? The one out of the packet was really saucy. Have a look at that. Yes, bloody beautiful. Now, how easy is that? Mac cheese done. You use hardly anything. One pot. Anything that's one pot's good for me. None of that fancy stuff. We're in the COVID. Anyway, everyone, this will serve easily 4 people. Or if you're in our family, it'll serve 6 because, you know, Brucey only has a couple of tablespoons, that luckiest man in Apollo Bay. Anyway, Sam, what do you think? The Sam Mac cheese. Suits you to the ground, love. And all my little blackberries are going to love it. And I love you for Christine. She coined the phrase, the Sam Mac cheese. You're a smart girl, darling. A lot smarter than I'd ever be. Anyway, everyone, thanks for calling and watch out for next week when we have some more recipes.